Hey, what's up, guys? It's Corey here with Dapper Dollars, and today we're going to talk about whether or not I need to add Upwork or Fiverr, or maybe both, to my stock portfolio. You ready? Let's get started. So, this channel is all about using online income opportunities like print on demand with Etsy, merch by Amazon, and Redbubble to grow our income online, invest this income in things like the stock market to grow our financial freedom, and create that financial freedom for ourselves and our families. If that sounds like something you're interested in, like and subscribe, and let's get started. So, Upwork and Fiverr, these two are going to be incredibly integral to the future of our workforce in the American system, and they've both grown incredibly over the last year or so thanks to 2020. So, let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. First of all, I own Upwork in a different account. I'll show that over here. I've grown, or that position has grown about 170 something percent since I started. I don't know exactly the number, but anyway, it'll be up here. And that has been obviously an incredibly successful stock, all up almost 200%. And I have also worked with Upwork in the past. I've used Upwork to hire a freelance writer to write or ghostwrite a book for me. I've used people on Fiverr as well to create logos and do design work. And so I've gone through the process of each of these companies. I have a general idea of what the benefits are as far as being a customer. And I honestly don't know that much about being a freelancer on those platforms, but I can imagine from reading their presentations as far as the stocks and everything that it is a very helpful process. And I mean, it has been a very helpful process, at least for me, to look through this online and see what their investor presentations are, how everything works, and I'm really excited to tell you a little bit more about these companies. So, Upwork is really one of my favorites in this, and I'm a little bit biased towards it, but I do love the fact that Upwork is a little bit more of a higher quality product that you get as far as if you're going to get a freelancer online. Upwork is a company that attracts a little bit more of a higher end person. They have more people on there who have degrees. They have more people who are professional at what they're doing. They're not just, people who are looking to make an extra few bucks online and then maybe go back to their job. Fiverr is exactly what it says. It is $5 for most projects starting out, and then you increase the budget from there based on what you need. Fiverr is a great option, but it is a lower budget option for most people as far as getting stuff done online. Now, that's not a bad thing. If you need, numbers put into a spreadsheet and you don't have time, paying someone $5 an hour to do something, or paying someone, the 15, 20 bucks maybe to get it done isn't that bad. So Fiverr has its benefits there, and there's not really too much of a downside to either of these companies. They both do about the same thing, but they're both valued very differently. Fiverr stock is over $200 a share, whereas Upwork stock is around $40 a share. So let's talk about what makes these two different, whether or not I need to add one or both of these to my stock portfolio, and my opinion on the future of these companies as far as being necessary in our economy. So, today is the day where Joe Biden was inaugurated, and one of the things that Joe Biden has talked about in his future stimulus packages is that he wants a $15 minimum wage, and this alone, if it happens, is going to be the catalyst for companies like Upwork and Fiverr. And let me explain a little bit of what I'm saying here is that if the $15 an hour minimum wage is raised, that is going to put a lot of businesses in a very difficult situation because they're going to have to raise their minimum wage, obviously, to $15 an hour. And the people who were making $15 an hour are going to have to be raised even higher as far as their hourly pay. And that means that people are going to be paid to do things that they probably shouldn't be paid that much to do. So a little bit of reference is I used to work in a print shop, and I think we worked with high schoolers, and they would be paid, maybe $7, $8 an hour to catch t-shirts that came off a dryer, fold them up, and put them in a box. That is not something that warrants being paid $15 an hour. Now, what happens if this $15 an hour wage goes up is that the cost is either going to come from firing people and not hiring as much because they can't afford to pay those people, because the margin, at least in the t-shirt business, was really small. You might sell a shirt for $14, you had $7 in that shirt, and then between paying everyone on staff to actually produce the shirt, you might wind up making, I don't know, $3 or $2 per shirt. But now if you suddenly have to pay everyone who was making $15 an hour, $20 an hour, and then the newest person gets paid $15 an hour, your margins are gone. So that means that you're either going to have to charge the customer more to make up for that, or you're going to have to fire people, and you're not going to have the ability to produce as much because you're not going to be able to hire that many people or have that many people working for you. So $15 an hour minimum wage is really not a good idea for a lot of reasons, and that's just a little bit of a general idea of why I don't agree with $15 an hour, mostly because there are jobs that people do that don't require them being paid $15 an hour. Just the value that they're adding to you is not worth $15 an hour. Some people, like Fiverr, have an option out there for you to pay someone what they would actually need to make to value having them do this project. So if it's something as simple as just putting numbers into a spreadsheet, paying them $5 for this project as opposed to paying them $15 an hour is a much better option. And so that is why I think that companies like Upwork and Fiverr are going to do great in the future, because they're going to give you an opportunity to put the right value on the project that you're actually going to need. And you're not going to be forced to pay these people a specific minimum wage. You're actually going to be able to pay people online what the project is actually worth to make the right margin for your business. That is why I'm very bullish on both Upwork and Fiverr. And now it's just a matter of finding which one is actually going to be the better investment opportunity. I hope all that makes sense. Not trying to get into a political debate with people, but that's just my perspective on the $15 an hour minimum wage, and if that happens, why I'm bullish on this situation. So there is a pretty significant difference in leadership between these two companies. Upwork has a CEO who has been on Microsoft. She has been a part of a few different startups, and she is very experienced as far as being a CEO of a company. She is not a founder-led company like Fiverr. Fiverr is a founder-CEO situation, so he hasn't really done anything besides be a founder of Fiverr, and I think he wrote for the New York Times or something in the past, and he is now the CEO of Fiverr. So the experience aspect of both of these people is a little different. The CEO of Upwork, she has done a lot with her life. She has been in a lot of different situations. She has worked with different teams, is not a CEO in every aspect, but she has obviously warranted herself being in a CEO position. Fiverr, he has just built Fiverr from the ground up, and that's impressive and all, but he doesn't have that much experience outside of Fiverr. The other operating, like the COO, like the Chief Operating Officer, and the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer of both of these companies, however, are very good. The CFO for Upwork has worked at Microsoft and I believe Facebook and eBay. The CFO for Fiverr has been at Wix.com, and he was part of a few acquisitions at different companies. And the COOs of both companies are pretty good, but whenever you are looking at a company to invest in, the leadership of this company is the main thing that you need to focus on. And honestly, I think that Upwork has the advantage because the experience difference is just very broad in all of these people, and they all seem to be in the same industries as far as tech and startups and stuff like that. Fiverr is a startup itself. I mean, Upwork is too, but Fiverr is a little bit more of not a hodgepodge team. I think that the people who are on Fiverr's team are very valuable and very experienced at what they're doing. However, I think that they just don't have the range of experience that is at Upwork. And for that reason, I give definitely a point to Upwork for their leadership team, which is the backbone of a company. So definitely keep that in mind as you're looking at these companies. And Upwork is a little bit better of a bargain because Upwork is, I think, a $4-point-something billion market cap, whereas Fiverr is a $8-point-something billion market cap. So these companies are about the same as far as their reach, as far as the market that they're addressing, and everything that they're doing. However, Fiverr is just valued really high right now. Their forward PE is through the roof, whereas Upwork doesn't exactly have a forward PE. They're just kind of, I love this company mostly because they just have been under the radar, slowly growing, and it's not been a massive takeoff. Well, there have been a few massive takeoffs for the stock, but for the most part, they've just been the company that quietly works, does an amazing job, and then boom, out of nowhere they beat earnings and suddenly they're taking over the freelance online workspace. Fiverr has been one of those companies that's taken off in a big way. They've gotten a lot of hype behind them, and they just have a lot of hype to live up to, and if it doesn't work, then it's very likely that they come down and there's just a massive sell-off that happens after they don't live up to the hype at any point. They've done great. Fiverr has done great at beating earnings almost every time, I think, and every quarter for the last year or two. They've done amazing at that. And then Upwork has, I think they've missed earnings once or twice. They've matched, and then obviously they beat earnings whenever it counts. So these companies are very different in their performance, but right now I believe Upwork is the one that is the more of a bargain right now because they just aren't valued as high as Fiverr, even though they're in the same space, even though Upwork addresses a probably more higher end client. Fiverr is, for whatever reason, valued higher right now. I think that Upwork, whenever, all the dust settles and maybe 10 years from now, Upwork is going to be at Fiverr's price for sure. And that's just my opinion. Again, everything I've said before this is not, I don't want to say it's not fact, but this is all my opinion and stuff that I've done research on. And if you make any financial decisions, make sure to consult a professional financial advisor. I'm just a guy on YouTube, and everything I say ahead of this now is also just the ramblings of a guy on YouTube. Make your own choices because I'm not a financial advisor. And now let's carry on with the balance sheet. The balance sheet of these companies is pretty similar. There are bigger numbers on Upwork side, as far as just having cash on hand, but their debts are also bigger. The debt to income rate, or not debt to income, debt to cash ratio on Fiverr's side is about the same. Neither of them are cash loaded to the sky, which, if one or the other was cash loaded to the sky, I would feel a lot more comfortable. But right now, Upwork and Fiverr are basically on the same page as far as their cash on hand and the money that they owe as far as liabilities. So these are the situations that they're in as far as cash and cash equivalents. Fiverr is a little bit better. Fiverr has a little bit higher cash to debt ratio. Other than that, there's not that big of a difference in these companies as far as the balance sheet goes. And for these reasons that we've talked about, I'm bullish on Upwork, honestly. The share price is lower, which means I can buy more. The team is definitely a more diverse as far as experience and everything like that. They're more diverse in that way. It seems like a bargain as far as the market cap compared to Fiverr and other freelance companies like this. And it just seems like the better way to go for a long-term strategy, which is what my portfolio is. It is a long-term growth portfolio. And I think that Upwork is going to do a great job of just being one of those solid, consistent earners over the long term. It's just going to continue to grow. I'm glad that I got the 170% in my other account, and now hopefully once I add it to this account, it goes up another 200%. That would be incredible. But we'll see what happens. And right now, like I said, this is all just speculation. This is how I feel about this company. I would love to hear what you guys think and your opinions if you're invested in Upwork or not. Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think as far as Upwork in their future, or whether or not Fiverr is the better way to go. I'd love to hear from you. I hope you guys are doing great. And just remember, someone is going to do something amazing every day, guys. Why not you? See ya.